Yes, Lena. The last game we played was Amazulu before the international break. The performance was okay in many ways, and not okay in some ways. We're still working, and we're still working to take advantage of our situations better and more effectively, and to stop the one or two mistakes that we're allowing people in most games, so that we bring ourselves under pressure and we start having to chase the game. So if we can do that, I think that we're in many ways on the right track. But it changes the total perception when you when you give away a silly goal, or you miss 3 or 4 very good chances. Obviously, we worked hard with a reduced squad through the international break, and we've got the players back today, all of them back in full training. So we've done a proper session, which is again one of the reasons why we ran over a little bit, because we needed to have that contact with each other. Yeah. Well, the lads coming back from Bafana are in good spirits, obviously, because they got a couple of good results. So they're okay. The other lads that were with national teams, they came back fully fit, so they've all trained properly. Our injuries, unfortunately, Lebo Manyama's broken down again, and we pulled him from training, so he's back to a rehab program. Samir, operation, obviously too soon to say anything. Sia's working hard and getting back. Leo Castro's working hard and getting back. Zuma working hard and getting back, but not anywhere near playing for those players.
Where's that now?
Sia, yeah. Sia's on his way. He's running almost fully, but he's not back training with the ball. Now these games are great for the punters. They're great for the media. For me and for Gavin, we're professionals, and we go into this. We're friends. We go into this as bitter enemies. So we'll go in, we'll do our job, we'll play the game, and then we'll shake hands after the game, win, lose or draw. But both teams, the season's not been what you're looking for, and then people will talk up as you obviously do in the ex-Kaizer Chiefs coach coming back and hoping to spoil the party, that sort of thing. I don't think Gavin's thinking that. I think he's thinking about getting a result, and he's exactly the same with us. And the only way we'll get results, the pair of us, is by finding a strategy and a performance that will get us there. So no, to answer your question, it's business as usual, but everybody, I'm supposing, is feeling that knife a little bit close to the throat. I can't, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what we're going to have sort of injuries. That's it. I don't think he did a bad job for Bafana. Absolutely not. There were certainly, I thought, players that were worse than he was. Absolutely. And I do think you can look at Willow either as a skillful centre back or a defensively strong central midfield player. So he is versatile enough to play both of those positions. Of course, he's not played in the midfield as much, but you can deploy him there as virtually a third centre back. You can push him in front in possession and drop him in between, more or less, when you're defending. So his versatility gives us options, and it's certainly nothing that I want to throw away without having a proper look at it, because he's got to find his distances, he's got to find his balances, he's got to find his intentions, and be comfortable with that role before you either bin it and say, no, I'm only looking at him as a centre back, or can he play both, and can he strengthen the squad in that? I think I got your question. Firstly, the mental strength of the team. I think that they've shown that they're quite resilient. I think you have to be mentally strong if you're going to play for Kaizer Chiefs, because with all due respect to some of the teams, you are under the microscope more when you're a Kaizer Chiefs player. People people are more ready to have a go. Social media is more massively black or white. You know, you're great or you're not. You're a hero or you're a zero. So I think you have to be mentally strong. I think the players have shown a degree of mental strength. I'd like it to be stronger. But I think, you know, we've come back from being down a couple of times and they've shown that resilience. But of course, coaches are never happy completely. So I'd like to see us showing that mental strength in terms of maybe focus, in terms of not having to come back after giving away a goal because we switched off, for example. But that one, and I have to the other one, the part about the target. I'm not one of those coaches that makes those targets. I've never been a fan of it. I think it brings in as much anxiety as it brings in goal setting. You know, so I'm not one that says after 4 games I wanted 10 points or whatever. But definitely I wanted more points than we have. And I don't think that the difference between us having those points or not having them is massive. I think it's more of a 10% up or down. I don't think it's, well, you know, you've got to improve 50% before you can even think about getting more points. I think the difference is small, but the effect has been big. So we are going to need that mental strength you're talking about, but I won't be setting targets. Target for every game is try and take 3. At the moment, we've gone through that. Well, he suits that opponent best. He suits that opponent best. Who's been good in training? We've gone through that. We've settled a little bit. Not on giving Daniel the number 1, but allowing him, after a couple of good performances, to sort of throw down the marker and a challenge. He's experienced, and at the moment we need experience, probably. He's been playing well. He's been playing for his national team. So, not that he's taken the number 1 shirt, but I think there's no real reason to be rotating at this moment. Having said that, the 2 younger goalkeepers that we've had are learning a lot from both Itu and Daniel, because they are the experienced goalkeepers at the club. And we're hoping that the younger ones, at some point, will make it impossible to keep them out of the team, because that will be the future of the club. But at this moment, both Itu and Daniel are making sure that they are great role models and that they're not making it easy. His job is under pressure every day. That's the nature of the world that we work in now. I read an article by Southampton's chairman, where he said that Southampton have not lost, they haven't won a game this year, but the coach is safe because we support the culture he's promoting, and we support the green shoots that we're seeing. I think that's the real pressure of the job. If the club that I'm working for don't see any green shoots, they don't respect the culture that I'm promoting within the club, or the learning that's happening, then you're under real pressure. The social media and what people think changes so quickly nowadays. You know, I came into the club with virtually no pre-season, and we played 6 games, and you're asking if my job's under pressure. I'm the only coach that's won anything over the last 18 years for Kaizer Chiefs, and then after 6 games, my job's under pressure. You question, I understand it, because there is that sort of very fast tsunami that can pick up nowadays on social media. Our job is to have that mental strength that we were talking about before, and make sure that you still carry on doing the job properly. So I would say, yes, every coach is threatened every day of his career now. That's the job that we have. And sometimes clubs make good decisions and sometimes they make bad ones. But they're also not infallible in terms of decisions. But we have to really believe that in the real football world, you've got a little bit more time and patience, and you see what is happening on the things. And I think that the international break. Sometimes when it comes, you're thinking we could kick on because we're making a bit of progress, and then it gets disrupted. And sometimes you get injuries and you think, well, no, actually it'll help us. These two have come at times when I think we are trying to do work together. We've been together for relatively short space of time. I mean, we had, I think, 2.5 pre-season friendlies, and then we've had these games. That roughly is what the pre-season would be in a normal league, in a normal year. So we want all the time together we can get. We want new players to be able to understand what we want, to get used to playing for Kaizer Chiefs. And what I said in the beginning of the season was, we will be getting better, but we need to get a few decent results in the beginning to make sure that we're not fighting against a mental problem as well, which we probably are now, to be very honest. We're fighting against a mental, which is why I understand the question about mental strength of the players. Are they going to keep kicking on? Are they going to keep confident? Are they going to keep on trying to do the right things? Or do you think they may be feeling the pressure? I'm sure they're feeling the pressure, but until now, I get the feeling that if we can spend enough time together, then we'll yes, Josh. In some ways, yes. In some ways, I feel like it's been a difficult journey for some of the players that have, not just the ones that have come in since I came, but some of the players that have been here for even a longer time, to come to grips with the actual life of a Kaizer Chiefs player. So I feel like we're getting closer to the culture that we all want, but that is tactical, technical, mental, physical, and it does take time. I think we're making progress. I thought we were making quicker progress, but then it slowed. And it slowed because we didn't win the games that we thought we should have won. And that puts a question mark. And that puts a little bit of anxiety. And so, yes, we're making progress, but it's slowed down because I think people are worrying about the situation. A very interesting question, Chris. I think one thing you've got to think is that we're living in different times. I don't mean COVID, but I just mean that if you look at the other teams at that time when I was there, I think that probably the standard of coaching now is better because more teams are well organised and more teams can beat each other. The bigger teams have pushed on, and they've pushed on at the same pace, if not more than Chiefs. And so I think it will take more time for Chiefs to find that edge and move away from their competition to put themselves in the position of a Bayern Munich or a very dominant force. So do I think there's a potential to do it? Yes. But do I think it will be as easy as I thought at that time? No, because I think everybody else has closed that gap, and some people have possibly even kicked on a little bit further. We've got to be careful. I don't mean you and me, but I think we as a football club, we've got to be careful to not solve a problem with the checkbook. I think a signing is very possible in January, but it must be a part of a strategy. It can't be just because maybe the supporters expect us to make a signing. Maybe we think we can plug a hole by making a signing. We have to have a strategy, and the signing needs to be a part of that strategy. And the reason you gave, because the injuries we've incurred, we've got Samir and Leo, who both of them foreign players, both expected to be a source of goals for us, and neither of them anywhere near the field. So you would think that maybe if we can make a signing to strengthen the striking department, it would be useful, and you would be right in that assumption. But I think we've got to think, we do our work on the training field, how much can we compensate there? We raise the level of the players that we have, and then we make that marquee signing to enhance everything. But it's got to be we've got to be careful to not believe that we can just buy our way out of trouble. And thanks, guys. Thank you.